Hello, Soundies. Welcome to our Sound for Video session. No, it's not actually our Sound for Video session. This is just a check. Just making sure that all the tech is working as I will be doing this stream solo because tomorrow Danny will be booked with something else, unfortunately. For me, good for her. Hi, Rafa. Thanks so much. And let's go ahead and run through what we have set up here. So first up, I'm going to go to what we call our super source here, and this should be a picture-in-picture of me and the agenda. Tomorrow we're talking about Isotope RX spectral cleanup, and in fact, if we come on over to the Mac, we can show you what that looks like. So this is what we're going to be looking at here, and let me just play a little bit of this here as a starting point. It sounds like this.
Here in Ontario?
Quiet. What I need to do is pull the fader up. Okay.
Here in Ontario, where probate fees can be levied on estates, avoiding that tax is usually an initial goal.
We've got plenty of noise there to demonstrate how to do spectral cleanup. And specifically, we're going to use spectral repair tomorrow, show how that works. So looking forward to that. And I think that's everything tech-wise that we've got. The chat's working here. Richard said good evening a little earlier. Richard, good evening to you. And so it looks like the comments or the chat is working okay here. Good. How are y'all doing out there? Hope everybody's doing well and had a good Saturday and good plans for the rest of the weekend. Let me just run through a little bit of the spectral repair here. I'm just going to kind of quiet myself down and demonstrate really quickly what I'm planning to do, amongst other things, is just to start. So we have like a bus or a car or something.
Here in Ontario, where probate fees can be levied on estates, avoiding that tax is usually an initial goal.
Okay, and you can see it specifically right here. So with our spectral repair up, grab a brush, you can see it right there. There's more of it up here, but there's also dialogue there. In any case, let's, you can see these boxes right here. That indicates where it's going to pull other sound from to use to model, to repair, or to actually replace. In this case, you can see we're on the Replace tab here. It's going to replace what we've selected here and synthesize it based on what it's seeing in these boxes to the left and right. You can actually just get stuff from before or just after, and we can also use this multi-resolution. So if I go, let me just come back here for just a second. Oh, you can't see a thing. I'm still on the camera. That's actually good because I need to take care of one thing first, and that is I need to get to the documentation. Okay. Now we're going to the Mac. Here we go. Okay. And here's RX. Okay. So to show what I was talking about again, let me just play through again right here.
Here in Ontario, where probate fees can be levied on estates, avoiding that tax is usually an initial goal.
Okay. In addition to the overall noise, there is what sounds like a vehicle of some sort. So I'm just going to grab this brush. We're going to highlight this bit right here. And again, notice the boxes here on the left and the right. That's what it's going to pull from to replace what's in here. We're in the replace mode right now. And we're telling it to get a big chunk of that. You can tell it to use less or more. Let's tell it to use more. You can also tell it how many bands to use, which will increase the size. If you're creating something that's a little bit longer in length, usually you want to use more bands. And in fact, if we look over here at our documentation on the replace, bands selects the number of frequency bands used for interpolation. A higher number of bands can provide better frequency resolution, but also requires wider surrounding area to be analyzed for interpolation. A lower number of bands is ideal for processing short selections or transient signals, something that happens very quickly. So we're going to go ahead and crank it up, and let's see what happens when we render this. Oh, interesting. Now look at it. It looks a lot like the surrounding audio. Let's see how it sounds.
Here in Ontario, where probate fees can be levied on estates, avoiding that tax is usually an initial goal.
Okay, I can still hear this bit here. You can see a faint trace of a line here close to the somewhere between 100 and 200 hertz. We're still hearing that. The trick is if I replace that or try to somehow repair that, the problem is that it could start to sound funky. But let's try it. Let's just try it and see what happens. Let's, we have to make our brush a little smaller, so I click and hold here. There we go. That should do it. And I'm going to zoom in a little more. The trick here is, from my perspective, if you get too in the weeds on this, oh, actually I'm not holding down the shift key, or yeah, the shift key, which allows me to select multiple, is that it gets pretty tricky and you can start cutting into this dialogue, especially, you can see right now, I'm going to probably go to partials plus noise. So we're going to see what we get here. Shift, select that. Let's go to our documentation and see what it says. If we go to partials and noise controls, the advanced version of replace mode, that's what this is. It restores harmonics of the audio more accurately with control over the harmonic sensitivity parameter. This allows for higher quality interpolation by explicit location of signal harmonics from the two sides of the corrupted interval and linking them together by synthesis. So I don't think this is going to work here. That's my hypothesis. Let's jump in and see what happens. Okay. I think the problem, it's going to the ends here to select that. Let's just try it. Yeah, I don't think that's it.
Here in Ontario, where probate fees can be levied on estates, avoiding that tax is usually an initial goal.
That didn't seem to help it a whole lot, but what I would do is do this type of cleanup first. And in fact, if we zoom all the way out and then zoom in, I think over here we have a bird somewhere. Here, I think this is the bird right here.
And remember,
Whoa, distortion, what is that?
their primary residence. And remember that the home will be
Okay, you hear that bird? Here's the trace of it right here. Okay, highlight it like that. Add, that one needs a bigger brush. Okay, I want to use replace and I want to get it just from the left. And yeah, we're going to replace here. Let's just try that. No, look how much that cut in there. Undo. It's still cutting into the right-hand side, so I want to don't need a lot here. Okay, let's hear how that sounds now.
And remember that the home...
Got the bird. We love birds, but sometimes not in our recording. So, okay, let's... You get the idea. Those are the things we're going to talk about tomorrow. Let's see what we've got in the chat. Looks and sounds good. Are you going over any of the new features? There are not actually a lot of new features, to be honest. If we go over to, I'm going to go over to the Mac again. Open a new tab. Let's go to Isotope. We're going to go to Products. We're going to go to RX10. We're looking at the new features. What's new? Text navigation. We showed that, what was it, last week or the week before that? Not impressive. Multiple speaker detection. So this is if you have two people on a single channel for whatever reason. Ideally you wouldn't, but sometimes, you know, if you get audio from somebody else, it can often happen. It'll actually identify them as different speakers, and then you can label them. That could be handy, but no, we're not going to do that tomorrow. We did talk about the repair assistant a little bit. It was okay, better than the previous generation in my, from my point of view. Spectral recovery, we might talk a little bit about that. This is going to be especially for, this basically synthesizes higher frequencies that get lost in, say, for example, a Zoom call recording or a phone recording. And also now the new version also restores or resynthesizes some of the low frequencies. But again, keep in mind, this is all resynthesis. This is not, it's not like it's revealing something that's there. It's actually making it up, resynthesizing it. So that's interesting. It's interesting that dynamic dehum, I guess the big change here is that you can now do the dynamic one without having to learn. Not planning to cover that tomorrow, but I was already impressed with that pretty much. Almost always I have, if I've got a really heavy hum, I've almost always got at least something I can select. Now you don't even have to have that, and it can still detect it. So we'll test that at some point, but those are the new features. That's not very much for you know, several $100 upgrade. If you need them, you need them, and that's great. But all I'm saying is I'm not an advocate in this case. I'm an advocate for upgrade if you need those features. If you don't need them, stick with what you got. So anyway, we're mostly going to focus on spectral repair tomorrow. All right. Hi, Bandrew. And thank you for spelling my name correctly with capital, I guess they call that camel case. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Alan says we needs compression. Try a fourth order high pass filter at 20 hertz. Yeah. And end up with nothing left. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Richard picked up a MKE 600. Been trying to get used to not having a mic near me. Feels weird. Soundspeed would be proud of me. Well, he's right here. He is very proud of you, it sounds like. So good. So what are you doing? Why are you up, young man? It's not as late here as it probably is there. It's coming up on 10:30 here. That's what people are saying in the Pro Sound forums. Unless you are looking for cutting edge features, there's no reason to upgrade. Nothing really amazing. That's kind of the vibe I get as well. It's a step. It's an evolutionary step. I think now that they're moving to this annual upgrade cadence, I think we're going to see more of that, where we're going to see just little steps as opposed to in the past when I think it was usually a little bit more time between versions that we saw arguably more substantive updates. So thanks for going over that tonight, Curtis, and the input sound speeds. I agree. Looking forward to tomorrow's live stream. I also have a surprise. I have this tube right here that arrived in the mail, and I'm instructed to open it during the stream. Thank you. That came from Sound Speeds. Looking forward to that. I have no idea what it is. I'm a little nervous about showing it, or opening it on stream, but we'll see what we get. So, all right. Well, I think everything's working. Sound speeds. That's correct. Upgrade because it's timed upgrade as opposed to upgrading because there's enough features. Green screen? Oh, maybe it's a green screen. Yeah, I don't think so. No, I doubt it. I suspect it's either a giant zip fizz, as Darren says, or Alan promises there's nothing alive in it. Probably. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, I have a suspicion. I think I know what it is. I'll send a note to Alan with my guess beforehand, and we'll see if I'm correct. We'll find out tomorrow on the stream. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. We will talk to you all tomorrow at noon Mountain Time, which just have to do the conversion for your time zone there. All right. I think with that, we'll call it a night. Make some good sound. Talk to you soon. Oh, wait. Get the right thing selected. Here we go.